Hi, I'm State Representative Antonio Parkinson, and I am the chairman of the Tennessee Black Caucus, and you are back with the Black Caucus Weekly. We got another superstar. I know we say this almost every week, but we got another superstar. She is none other than the history-making State Senator Raumesh Akbari. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Mr. Chairman. Happy to be here.
I'm honored to be here.
You're right. Everyone else was special, but I'm super special.
You are super special. You absolutely are. You know, and I tell people, and I'll tell the public today, as I do publicly, that I am so proud of you. Number one, I mean, you have moved the needle in a bunch of areas, and it's exciting, and you know, and it's good to see. You know, and let me tell the public this. Let me look in the camera and tell them this. You know, I love this woman. She is super smart. She's thoughtful. She's compassionate, and she's caring. And I want people to understand it. I always love to give people their roses while they're here, and I just want to get it. She's gonna cry when she get in the car.
Thank you.
But yeah, so Senator Akbari. You know, you're doing a lot of things, and like I said, you know, really moving the bar on what public service is. You know, I want people to know, before we get into the meat of what you do in your history-making areas, how did you get here? Ooh. What happened? What made you even decide to do this?
Well, I always thought that public service was the best way to make a change, right? Mm-hmm. But there's always that question of when. When will it happen? Fortunately, I had a good mentor. State Representative Barbara Cooper, who helped kind of show me the ropes when it came time for me to run for office. I thought I was going to kind of shadow her and run in several years, and it ended up I ran the same year. And fortunately, 7 of us ran. I won by 100 votes, so when people say votes don't matter, they do. 100 vote difference. And I've been here ever since, so that was 2013.
Right, yeah, and your first election was to what seat?
It was to House District 91. So late Speaker Pro Tem Lois D. Period passed away. Governor Hasleman called this special election. It certainly was intimidating, to say the least, to try and step into that seat. But hopefully, you know, got in there, learned the ropes, had great people who helped me along the way, and I was there for 5 years before I went to the Senate.
Yeah, that's awesome. You know, and I tell people, you know, our trajectory is same. Leader Camper was same. Hers was a special election. Mm-hmm. Mine was a special election. Yours a special election. All of us lost our predecessors due to untimely death, and we won special elections, and they were very small margins. You know, mine was 350 votes, and yours 100, and that's
razor thin.
Razor thin. Yep. Yeah, but the people spoke.
Yeah. And we went to the people. Like, we went and got votes. Like, hey, come on, we'll take you down there. Hopefully nothing bad happens while we go, but come on, let's go vote. Right. And I think that's what you have to do when you're interested in public service and being in elected office. 1, you need to have a record of service, but 2, you have to go directly to the people. It doesn't matter who endorses you. It doesn't matter how much money you raise. Money is helpful, but it doesn't matter. Go to people. Go to the people who can vote for you.
Right, and you know, 5 years in the Tennessee House, and then you and you actually, before we even talk about you moving to the Senate, you were in this position.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah,
Black Caucus Chair, and that was a great experience. We did a statewide town hall tour. Almost lost some members in
Crossville.
Yeah, Crossville.
Oh, we got to tell that story. We got to tell that story.
So I wasn't there, so let's just put that out there. You were there holding it down for us, and now you got to tell us what happened.
Right. So I don't know if this was a setup, y'all, but then State Representative Akbari, chair lady of the Black Caucus, set up this tour across the state, which was great, well received. Had some locations in there, Crossville, Cookville, I think, Whiteville, and you know, these are small rural areas, you know, but we need to get the message out. Right. So we showed up in was it Crossville? Crossville. We're in Crossville. I was there in Senator Akbari's stead now, and we're in there, and Charlottesville had literally just happened. Yeah. Charlottesville, Virginia, and so we're talking about things, you know, germane to Black Caucus and Black voters and Black people, and in the audience there were 5 individuals, and they looked a little different than we did, right? And they were members of Sons of Confederacy, right? And
where they just got back from?
They were literally just back from Charlottesville with a cast on one of them's arm, burns on another one's arm, chemical burns look like. You know, one might have been limping at the time, and they were part of all of that big uproar and fight and, you know, things that were going on in Charlottesville, and where unfortunately an individual lost her life. Due to some of that the extreme fringes of America. Let me say that, and that's sad. What was interesting is, we see these things on the news, but to hear those individuals say what was going on out there, such as filling of water bottles with concrete, letting it harden and throwing it into the crowd, or throwing acid on the other. That's where he got the burns from. A lot of people don't realize how violent
that scary.
It is, and it says that we have work to do.
Yeah. Everyone says we're in a post-racial society. No, we have work to do. We have work to do.
Yeah, we do. And so on a better note, you decided to run for Senate.
I decided to run for Senate. There was an open seat. It took a minute to kind of reach that decision. Had to talk to my tribe of people, so that's the importance of having people that support you. Made the decision to run. My joke that whole year was I'll either be in the Senate or I'll be at the House, because I won't be in the House of Representatives anymore. So we ran. It was two of us that ran. It was a very hot summer. Like I got so hot one day I got cold. So you've been out in the sun too long, right? None of my makeup matched my complexion anymore, but we won, and a decisive victory, and was happy to step into that role. And now I'm one of 3 black women serving in the Senate for the first time ever.
Right. Wow. One of 3 black women serving in the Senate for the first time ever. But that's not enough in your history making. No. There's more to you making history. So tell us about that. What other history did you make in that election?
So I serve as a Senate Democratic Caucus Chairwoman. Our primary goal, we're supposed to recruit and raise money.
Wait a minute. Easy now. Okay. Has there ever been an African-American woman or a woman of color in that position?
No, there's not. So I was the first one to do it.
Right. I can't let you skip past the history-making part like it's nothing. That's a major accomplishment. How old is the state of Tennessee? What are we, a couple hundred years old?
Plus years,
200 plus years? And never in the...
200.
And never in the history of
ever.
This state has there ever been a woman of color in that position.
Yeah, well, it was pretty cool though to be able to be a part of that, and we went through our first election cycle this past year. We picked up a seat for the first time since 2006, raised some money, because there's always this notion that black people and black women can't raise money. No, we wanted to put that aside. Raise more money than we've raised in 3 election cycles.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of phone time.
Those things are not
a lot of hard
told.
work.
Those stories are not being told though.
Yeah, no, because we just do the work and we keep moving forward.
Yeah.
I think if you stop to think about all the things you've done, you'd just be exhausted all the time.
But that's good stuff, and it goes to show the value that you bring to Democrats in the state of Tennessee and to the Senate, and you respect it. And that's good. We need that over there. So look, it is. Yeah, people have no idea how tough things are. Things can be here. Yeah. So you're in the Senate, and let's tell me about your agenda though. Let's tell people before we go there. Sorry, y'all. Before we go there, tell people what your job is in the Senate as in that position.
Oh, in that position. So I recruit candidates, raise money. We help drive some of the policy in the state. We meet every week. We make sure that certain issues that are important to Democrats are being covered. And we're a seat at the leadership table, which is important when you're talking about meeting with the governor or the lieutenant governor. It's important to have the right person in that position, and certainly someone who brings, younger compared to everyone else in the Senate, black woman, Democrat, and that's something that they haven't seen before. So it's good to be at that table.
Yeah, speaking of younger, shouldn't have said it. Now I'm going to talk about it. Speaking of younger, for a long time, you were the youngest member of the House, right?
I was the youngest member of the House, fortunately.
What was your nickname?
Well, some individuals called me Baby Rep, and they still do.
Right.
However, I'm very much a senator now, and I'm the youngest in the Senate, but that's also...
Right.
But you have to be 30 to run for the Senate. So and I'm 36, so hopefully we'll get somebody in there that's right at 30, and that'll be exciting.
But that's awesome. Young talent. That's awesome. And so we're excited about that. Now, you've educated the public, or our viewers anyway, on what your job is in your leadership position. Let's talk about agenda.
Right.
And as we say in every show, our agenda here at the Black Caucus is this year is health, education, and how do we put money on the tables of the households.
Right.
Of course, you being in your position, yours is probably much more expanded than what ours is. But let's talk about that.
So the 3 main things I work on. One, my overarching umbrella is to reduce poverty. Okay.
Right.
And so
That's
to that,
money on the
table. So to that end, I think that every child should be able to go to a well-funded, good public school, no matter what zip code they live in. Education. Number 2, I believe that criminal justice reform is imperative to our state. People should not be judged by the decisions they make on their worst day for the rest of their lives.
Right.
Number 3, economic development. So putting money on the table. Because if you don't have a good job to go home, to come home from, if you don't have a career that you can build on, then we're already behind the curve. So no matter what we do, we won't have a strong foundation.
And which ties directly to the poverty and to,
Yep.
the criminal justice reform piece too. Because
Exactly.
if people, I try to get our friends across the aisle to understand, if you are in survival mode,
Yeah.
it's a different decision-making process. Totally different.
We're trying to get people to thrive. We want them to be able to have better health outcomes, their neighborhoods to look better, better education outcomes, all sorts of things. Less crime, less recidivism. Those all go hand in hand. So people want to talk about trickle down. I think this is the ripple effect, where you just create a wave of good things happening in communities.
Yeah. So that's your agenda.
That's my agenda.
Yeah, and so how are things working out? Are you getting some of these, trying to work on these things?
Every year I try and pass bills around that. When I left the House, I'd passed 28 bills. First year in the Senate, 14. So I'm just trying to do that this year. This year is a little weird, but we've passed some things related to sickle cell, related to health. There you go. Some things related to education and criminal justice reform that are kind of coming down. So we'll see. But as we are in these last several weeks of session, that's when things start to get kind of interesting. But hopefully we'll get some things done.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. So.
Yeah. That's good. And we truly appreciate all of the effort that you're making. Tell us about some of your highs in politics and then some of your lows in politics.
That's good, right? So highs, obviously when you first win. I mean, I remember my first election. It was a team effort. My best friends from college came down. We were racing from poll to poll to look at the ticker tape to see what the numbers were. And that was just phenomenal. But I think as far as in my career legislatively, being able to reduce the expungement fee, that was a big thing for me. I worked on that for 3 or 4 years. And getting to speak at the DNC in 2016, that was exciting and unexpected. I remember I was driving home from a task force meeting about sexual harassment in the General Assembly, and it was just a rough meeting, and I was driving home, and I was thinking, the convention's coming up in a couple of weeks. I'm a delegate. I'm an alternate delegate. I wasn't even a delegate. I'm like, but you know what? I'm going to maybe try and do a little bit more in 4 years, and maybe I'll get to speak. Right at that moment, I got a phone call from Marlon Marshall, who worked with the campaign, and was like, hey, do you want to speak? The Hillary Clinton campaign, 2016. And so he asked me if I wanted to speak, and I just could not believe it. And I'm like, Lord, I'm just talking about next in 4 years I'll do something different, then I get this invitation. So of course I said yes, and it was great. My mom was there. We were in person, so super fun. 2020. They asked me to be a part of a group of rising stars. So that was really neat. Because of COVID, we recorded at home. I had this whole kit with 2 different cameras, and they were kind of radioed in, and they were telling me what to do, and my teleprompter wasn't working, so I was a little but it was still cool. It was really exciting and fun.
Off script, so
I just had to memorize. Well, I couldn't be off script. They had a set script. So I just had to memorize it and then try and repeat it. So, but it was cool. It was neat to be in prime time. But yeah.
And where did that air? I know, but I want to.
It aired during the Democratic National Convention, so it was in prime time. It was right there. We were the keynote for the night. It was neat because when you support a candidate and you latch onto them because you think they're going to do a great job, and then they actually deliver. Like when Joe Biden selected Kamala Harris as his vice presidential nominee, I felt like he's hearing our voices. I was on a task force related to criminal justice reform. We came up with all these great recommendations, and they adopted them at the DNC. That's when you feel like what you're actually doing makes a difference. I've been on a couple of task forces up here, and I'm like, when are we going to get to the meat and potatoes of it? We have great recommendations now. When are we going to actually do these things?
Put these things to action.
Yeah, so it's encouraging.
And I think it's important to note that when Joe Biden first announced that he was running, and people didn't think he was going to be the nominee. Man, she came off the ropes, off the top, right? And from the beginning, and rolled it out. In South Carolina, changed that whole thing.
I was in Iowa, and it was so depressing, and we're like, oh gosh. I mean, it was exciting to get to meet people, but after the results, it was like, oh man, he really lost bad. And then he went to New Hampshire, and it wasn't good, but South Carolina turned it all around. And then you had, Super Tuesday, and it was went from there.
Right. Shout out to all the Black Caucus members in South Carolina.
Yeah.
Love you, baby.
Yep.
Yeah, man. Good stuff. Good stuff. So, I really want to speak to how intense it was getting ready to prepare for that on stage piece with Hillary Clinton. You know, how intense was that?
Well,
And what were the headlines saying the next day? Everywhere, globally.
Okay, I got you.
Come on now.
All right, so it was intense. Okay? First of all, I was gonna wear. I'll tell you guys some little secrets. I was gonna wear a black dress, and a group of older black women who were legislators came up to me and said, "Akbari, have you seen anyone else in a black dress?"
Right.
So I ordered this red dress, and I was waiting at my hotel that morning for it to be delivered. I get there, I'm backstage, and they do your hair, they do your makeup. I asked them for a little country, asked for a little safety pin, and they're like, "Oh, we'll get wardrobe." Wardrobe matches the thread and sews me up into my dress. It's that intense. That's why everyone looks so good.
Wow, yeah.
Right? And
That's
so,
deep.
right, and everyone was like, "Well, what music are you going to come out to?" I said, "I don't know." And they played Beyonce, and it was so cool. And
So it's on now.
it was on. And so I gave my speech. It was a little different. We practiced with 3 teleprompters. When I got out there, they were like, "You only have 1." So, and I couldn't see it. So I'm moving to the side because I needed to block. But anyway, when I got to the key point, I was like, she's one bad sister. She's a bad sister. And that kind of just stuck with folks. But I'm like, she is. I couldn't think of a person more accomplished.
Right.
And I'm that nerd that was a Hillary Clinton fan when she was first lady and I was in elementary school.
Yeah.
So,
but that's an amazing experience. One for generations, and and she stole the show. That's what Barack Obama did. When he spoke at the DNC.
he did.
Right,
He
right.
definitely put his name on the map after that.
Yeah, that's right.
I bought his book.
That's right, exactly. Right. So look, we're going to wrap this up. I just want to tell you again, how excited I am, how proud I am of you. You're an amazing sister. You're the real bad sister right here. And what you're doing is golden and is needed for us in the state of Tennessee. And so any last things you want to tell us, tell the people,
Yeah, I will also say, look, our Black Caucus is doing a great job thanks to our chairman, Parkinson, and just keep your eyes and ears open. We have some good agenda items we're pushing. We'll probably need your support. We'll probably get out in the community and see you all soon once we can. So just keep hope alive, keep watching. Even though you don't know it, you have people fighting for you every day.
Right. Hey, and I'm State Representative Antonio Parkinson. Y'all seen how I do that? Hey, look, but I'm State Representative Antonio Parkinson, and this has been your Tennessee Black Caucus Weekly. Make sure you follow us on social media, TN Black Caucus. We love you. Share this. Keep pushing on.